The 1950s are often romanticized as a golden era of American car design, with sleek, chrome-plated cars that symbolize prosperity and progress. However, not all cars from this decade were models of engineering excellence. For low-income buyers, the reality was often much grimmer, with many having to make do with cars equipped with subpar, unreliable, and downright problematic engines. Plagued by poor performance, frequent breakdowns, and inefficient design, these engines left much to be desired. Here are 12 of the worst engines that only the poor could afford at the time, revealing the harsh reality of car ownership in the 1950s for those on a budget.
Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support.
Number 12, 1957 Packard Clipper. 1957 Packard Clipper, a car that symbolizes both the ambition and decline of the Packard brand in the 1950s. At the center of this car is the 289 V8, a power plant that, despite its V8 configuration, faced significant problems. In this installment, we'll look at the backstory of the 1957 Packard Clipper, examine the performance and problems of its 289 V8, and consider the broader context of the automotive industry at the time. By the mid-1950s, Packard was struggling to maintain its position in the luxury car market. The 1957 Clipper was part of a last-ditch effort to revitalize the brand, aiming to blend luxury with performance. The 1957 Clipper featured a design that sought to be modern and appealing, with sleek lines and a more contemporary look. However, the car's styling could not compensate for its underlying mechanical issues. The 289 V8 was introduced as a standard power plant for the 1957 Clipper, intended to provide the robust performance expected from a V8 engine. Despite its potential, the engine fell short in several critical areas. V8 engines were synonymous with power and performance during the 1950s. However, the 289 V8 in the Packard Clipper failed to live up to these expectations, delivering lackluster acceleration and disappointing overall performance. One of the most significant problems with the 289 V8 was its poor tuning. The engine often ran rough, with erratic idling and inconsistent power delivery. This led to a driving experience that felt underwhelming, especially when compared to competitors with more refined V8 engines. The engine was notorious for frequent overheating, particularly during long drives or in warmer climates. This was a major reliability issue, as overheating could lead to severe engine damage and costly repairs. For a V8, the 289 was expected to balance power with reasonable fuel consumption. However, it struggled with fuel efficiency, making it less appealing to buyers who were beginning to consider operational cost more seriously. Despite being a V8, the 289 engine lacked the punch that drivers expected. Acceleration was sluggish, making it difficult for the Clipper to compete with other luxury cars that offered more spirited performance. The underwhelming performance of the 289 V8 negatively affected the Packard Clipper's reputation. Buyers looking for a powerful and reliable luxury vehicle found themselves disappointed, which further eroded consumer confidence in the Packard brand. The 1957 Clipper's struggles highlight the broader challenges Packard faced in the luxury car market. As competitors like Cadillac and Lincoln continued to innovate and offer superior products, Packard found it increasingly difficult to keep up. The issues with the 289 V8 engine and the overall reception of the 1957 Clipper were symptomatic of Packard's decline. By the end of the 1950s, Packard had ceased production, marking the end of an era for one of America's storied luxury car makers. The failure of the 289 V8 underscores the critical importance of engineering excellence in the automotive industry. Even a luxury brand with a storied history cannot succeed without reliable and well-performing engines. The 1957 Clipper also serves as a reminder of how quickly consumer expectations can evolve. In an era where power, reliability, and efficiency were becoming increasingly important, Packard's inability to deliver on these fronts hastened its decline. In conclusion, the 1957 Packard Clipper and its 289 V8 engine serve as a poignant example of a car that fell short of its potential. Despite its ambitions, the Clipper's mechanical issues, particularly with its underperforming V8 engine, prevented it from making a lasting impact in the luxury car market. The story of the 1957 Clipper is a reminder of the importance of engineering and reliability in building a successful car. As we reflect on this chapter in automotive history, we gain valuable insights into the challenges and complexities of producing vehicles that meet and exceed consumer expectations. Number 11, 1955 Ford Mainline. 1955 Ford Mainline, a vehicle that aimed to serve as a dependable workhorse for the everyday driver. Central to this car was its 223 inline-six engine, a power plant known more for its reliability than its performance. We'll explore the history of the 1955 Ford Mainline, dissect the characteristics and limitations of the 223 inline-six engine, and discuss how it impacted the car's reputation and Ford's position in the automotive market during the mid-1950s. The Ford Mainline was introduced as an entry-level vehicle in Ford's lineup, aimed at budget-conscious consumers who needed a no-frills car. It was positioned below the more upscale Custom Line and Fairlane models. The 1955 model brought a fresh, modernized design with a clean and straightforward aesthetic. It was practical, durable, and built to appeal to a wide audience seeking affordability and reliability. The 223 inline-six, also known as the Mileage Maker 6, was introduced in the early 1950s and became a staple in Ford's lineup. It featured a displacement of 223 cubic inches and was designed to be an economical option with decent fuel efficiency for the time. The engine produced around 120 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque, which, while adequate for light-duty tasks, left much to be desired when it came to performance, especially in a full-size vehicle like the Mainline. One of the most notable drawbacks of the 223 inline-six was its lack of power. While dependable, the engine struggled to deliver the acceleration and performance needed for more dynamic driving. This was particularly evident when the car was loaded with passengers or cargo, or when attempting to climb hills or merge onto highways. The Mainline's acceleration was sluggish, making it less suited for drivers who needed more robust driving capabilities. This slow response often led to a frustrating driving experience, especially in situations requiring quick maneuvering or speed adjustments. Despite being an entry-level model, the Mainline was still a full-size car, and its weight further hampered the performance of the 223 inline-six. The engine struggled to efficiently move the vehicle, particularly in stop-and-go traffic or during long-distance drives. In urban environments, the underpowered engine meant that drivers had to be patient with slow starts and gradual acceleration. This could be a challenge in busy traffic conditions where quicker response times were necessary. On the highway, the Mainline's limitations became even more apparent. The engine's modest power output made maintaining higher speeds a challenge, especially when attempting to overtake other vehicles or handle inclines. While the 223 inline-six was reliable and economical, the trade-off in performance made it a less desirable choice for drivers seeking a more versatile vehicle. By the mid-1950s, consumer expectations were shifting. Drivers wanted cars that not only offered reliability and economy, but also delivered better performance and a more engaging driving experience. The Mainline's underpowered engine put it at a disadvantage compared to competitors offering more powerful and refined powertrains. Ford faced stiff competition from Chevrolet and Plymouth, which were also producing budget-friendly models with similar goals. However, these rivals often offered engines with better performance characteristics, giving them an edge in the market. The Mainline was valued for its durability, affordability, and simplicity. These traits made it a popular choice for families and businesses looking for a reliable and economical vehicle. However, the limitations of the 223 inline-six engine hindered its appeal to a broader audience. As consumer preferences evolved, the demand for cars with better performance grew, leaving the Mainline and its powertrain somewhat outdated. The feedback from the Mainline and its performance issues likely influenced Ford's future engine development, leading to more powerful and efficient engines in subsequent models. In conclusion, the 1955 Ford Mainline and its 223 inline-six engine represent a critical chapter in Ford's history. While the car was reliable and economical, its underpowered engine made it less appealing in a market increasingly demanding better performance. The Mainline story highlights the importance of balancing reliability with performance to meet the evolving expectations of consumers. Number 10, 1953 Plymouth Cranbrook. 1953 Plymouth Cranbrook, a car that symbolized post-war American automotive simplicity. Central to this vehicle was the 2.18 flathead 6 engine, a power plant known for its durability but often criticized for its performance shortcomings. The Cranbrook was introduced in the early 1950s as part of Plymouth's effort to provide reliable and affordable transportation to post-war America. Positioned as a practical and sturdy option, it was aimed at middle-class families looking for dependable daily transportation. The 1953 model showcased a clean and conservative design typical of the era, focusing more on functionality than flair. It featured a sturdy body-on-frame construction and offered a roomy interior, making it a practical choice for families. The 218 Flathead 6, with a displacement of 218 cubic inches, was a staple in Plymouth's lineup during this period. It delivered around 97 horsepower and 175 pound-feet of torque, figures that were modest even by the standards of the time. The flathead or side valve design was a common configuration in the early 20th century. While simple and easy to manufacture, this design had inherent limitations, particularly in terms of airflow, which impacted power and efficiency. One of the most significant criticisms of the 218 Flathead 6 was its lack of power. The engine struggled with acceleration, particularly noticeable when the car was fully loaded or climbing hills. This made the Cranbrook less appealing for drivers who required more robust performance. Another prevalent issue was the engine's tendency to overheat, especially under heavy loads or during prolonged driving in hot weather. The flathead design, with its suboptimal airflow, contributed to poor heat dissipation, making overheating a common complaint among owners. The engine's limited horsepower translated to sluggish acceleration, which was evident in both city driving and highway cruising. This slow response could be frustrating for drivers, especially when merging onto highways or overtaking other vehicles. In urban settings, the Cranbrook's underpowered engine made stop-and-go traffic challenging. Drivers had to exercise patience, as the car took time to get up to speed. On the highway, the lack of power was even more pronounced. Maintaining higher speeds or overtaking became difficult, and the engine often felt strained during long-distance trips. The engine's performance further deteriorated when the car was loaded with passengers or cargo. The combination of low power and poor torque delivery made handling heavy loads a real challenge. The 1950s was a time of great automotive evolution, with consumers expecting more power and better performance as the American highway system expanded. The Cranbrook, while reliable, struggled to meet these rising expectations, particularly in terms of engine performance. Plymouth faced stiff competition from other American automakers like Ford and Chevrolet, which were beginning to offer more powerful and efficient engines. This put pressure on Plymouth to innovate and improve its offerings to stay competitive. Despite its performance issues, the Cranbrook's 218 Flathead 6 was praised for its durability. The simple engine design was easy to maintain and could endure years of use with proper care, making it a favorite among budget-conscious consumers. However, the performance shortcomings, particularly the underpowered engine and frequent overheating, tarnished its reputation. These issues underscored the need for Plymouth to modernize its powertrains to keep up with evolving consumer demands. The lessons learned from the Cranbrook likely influenced Plymouth's subsequent engine developments, leading to more powerful and efficient engines in later models. In summary, the 1953 Plymouth Cranbrook and its 218 Flathead 6 engine illustrate the challenges of balancing durability with performance in an era of rapidly changing automotive expectations. While the Cranbrook was a reliable and practical choice for many, its engine performance issues highlighted the limitations of outdated technology in meeting the needs of post-war drivers. Number 9, 1956 Mercury Monterey. 1956 Mercury Monterey, a car that represented mid-century American automotive design and engineering. Central to our discussion is its 225 inline-six engine, an aging power plant that struggled to keep pace with the rapidly advancing automotive technology of the time. The Mercury Monterey was positioned as a full-size car aimed at consumers looking for a blend of luxury and performance. By 1956, Mercury was trying to solidify its position between Ford's more utilitarian models and Lincoln's high-end offerings. The 1956 model featured bold styling with a distinctive grille and tail fin design that were hallmarks of the era. It was also equipped with various comfort features aimed at enhancing the driving experience, including optional power steering and power brakes. The 225 cubic inch inline-six engine produced around 125 horsepower, a modest figure even for the mid-1950s. It was a carryover design, which meant it had been in production for several years with minimal updates. By 1956, the engine was beginning to show its age. As automotive technology advanced, engines were becoming more powerful and efficient, leaving the 225 inline-six behind in terms of performance and innovation. The most significant issue with the 225 inline-six was its lack of power. In a full-size car like the Monterey, this deficiency was particularly noticeable. The engine struggled to deliver sufficient acceleration, making it difficult for drivers to merge onto highways or overtake other vehicles. The engine was also known for its rough running, characterized by vibrations and uneven power delivery. This not only affected the driving experience, but also contributed to increased wear and tear on engine components. Frequent timing problems were another common complaint. These issues led to erratic engine performance, including misfires and hesitation during acceleration. Timing issues also made the engine more prone to stalling, especially in stop-and-go traffic. In city environments, the underpowered engine made navigating traffic a chore. The rough-running characteristics added to the discomfort, particularly in stop-and-go situations where smooth power delivery was essential. On the highway, the Monterey's performance was underwhelming. The engine struggled to maintain higher speeds, and overtaking other vehicles required careful planning due to the lack of power. The 225 inline-six also had difficulty managing heavy loads. Whether carrying passengers or cargo, the engine's limited power output made it challenging to handle inclines or long-distance trips with ease. The mid-1950s were a period of rapid technological advancement in the automotive industry. V8 engines were becoming increasingly popular, offering significantly more power and smoother operation. In this context, the 225 inline-six was seen as outdated and inadequate. By 1956, consumers were beginning to expect more from their cars, particularly in terms of performance. The limitations of the 225 inline-six made the Monterey less competitive, especially against rivals offering more powerful and modern engines. Mercury faced stiff competition from both within the Ford family and from other automakers. Ford's own V8-powered models were more appealing to consumers seeking better performance, while competitors like Chevrolet and Plymouth were also advancing their engine technologies. The shortcomings of the 225 inline-six engine tarnished the Monterey's reputation to some extent. While the car itself was well-designed and offered a comfortable ride, the engine's performance issues made it less desirable for buyers looking for a balance of power and refinement. The problems with the inline-six highlighted the need for more powerful and efficient engines. Mercury, like many other automakers, eventually shifted focus to V8 engines, which offered better performance and helped restore consumer confidence in the brand. Despite its issues, the 1956 Monterey remains a significant part of Mercury's history. It represents a transitional period when the automotive industry was moving towards more powerful and sophisticated engine designs. Number 8, 1959 Studebaker Lark. 1959 Studebaker Lark, a car that played a significant role in the automotive landscape of its time. Our focus will be on its 170 inline-six engine, a power plant that, while compact and efficient, ultimately struggled to meet the demands of performance and reliability. We'll explore the context of the Lark's design, the characteristics of the engine, and the implications of its performance issues for both drivers and the Studebaker brand. The Studebaker Lark was introduced in 1959 as a compact car designed to appeal to the growing demand for smaller, more economical vehicles. With rising fuel prices and changing consumer preferences, the Lark aimed to capture a market segment that valued efficiency without sacrificing style. The 1959 model featured a distinctive design with clean lines and a modern aesthetic. It was available in various body styles, including sedans and station wagons, and was known for its spacious interior and comfortable ride. The 170 inline-six engine produced approximately 101 horsepower. While this power output was adequate for basic city driving, it left much to be desired for highway performance and acceleration. The compact nature of the engine allowed for a smaller engine bay and lighter overall vehicle weight, contributing to the Lark's appeal as an economical choice. However, this compactness also meant that performance characteristics were compromised. One of the most significant issues with the 17.0 inline-six was its underpowered nature. While it was sufficient for urban driving, it struggled on highways, making it difficult for drivers to merge or overtake with confidence. The engine's lack of power became a notable drawback for consumers who sought versatility in their vehicles. The 170 inline-six was prone to several mechanical issues, which impacted its reliability. Many owners reported issues with the carburetor, leading to poor fuel delivery and inconsistent engine performance. These failures often resulted in rough idling and stalling, frustrating drivers. The engine's cooling system also faced challenges, with overheating being a common concern. This not only affected engine performance but also posed risks of more severe engine damage if left unaddressed. In city driving scenarios, the 170 inline-six offered a reasonably comfortable experience. It was adequate for stop-and-go traffic and daily commuting. However, drivers quickly noticed the limitations when needing to accelerate quickly or navigate hilly terrain. On the highway, the lack of power became apparent. The engine struggled to maintain speed, particularly when loaded with passengers or cargo. The combination of underwhelming acceleration and frequent mechanical issues made long-distance driving a challenge. The engine's performance also diminished when carrying heavier loads. Whether it was a full passenger load or cargo, the Lark's engine had difficulty delivering the necessary power, making it less than ideal for those needing a versatile vehicle. The late 1950s were marked by economic changes that influenced consumer preferences. Rising fuel prices and a shift towards more fuel-efficient vehicles created a market for compact cars. The Lark aimed to fill this gap but faced challenges in standing out against competitors offering more powerful and reliable engines. Competing models from manufacturers like Ford and Chevrolet offered more robust engine options, providing a greater sense of power and performance. The Lark's limited engine options put it at a disadvantage in a market that increasingly favored performance alongside efficiency. The performance issues associated with the 170 inline-six affected the Lark's overall reputation. While the Lark was designed to be an economical and stylish vehicle, the engine's limitations diminished its appeal to a broader audience. The struggles of the 1700 inline-six highlighted the necessity for Studebaker to innovate and adapt to consumer demands. The automotive industry was rapidly evolving, with an increasing emphasis on power, efficiency, and reliability in engine design. Despite its shortcomings, the 1959 Studebaker Lark remains an important part of automotive history. It represents a period of transition in the industry as manufacturers began to recognize the importance of combining compact size with adequate power and reliability. In conclusion, the 1959 Studebaker Lark and its 170 inline-six engine serve as a case study in the challenges faced by automakers during a time of change. While the Lark was designed with efficiency and style in mind, the underpowered engine and associated mechanical issues ultimately limited its success in the marketplace. This highlights the importance of balancing design with performance in the ever-evolving automotive landscape. Number 7. 1950 DeSoto Custom. 1950 DeSoto Custom. Our focus will be on its 236 inline-six engine, a power plant that reflects both the innovations and limitations of its time. The DeSoto brand was part of the Chrysler Corporation and was positioned as a mid-range automobile, offering a balance of style, comfort, and affordability. The 1950 DeSoto Custom was designed to appeal to families and individuals seeking a reliable vehicle with ample space and features. The 1950 model boasted a classic post-war design with smooth lines and a spacious interior. It was available in various body styles, including sedans and coupes, emphasizing comfort and practicality. The 236 inline-six engine produced around 125 horsepower, which, while adequate for its time, was often considered underwhelming for a vehicle of this size and weight. The engine utilized a flathead design, which was increasingly seen as outdated by the late 1940s and early 1950s. The flathead configuration offered a simple and robust design, but it had inherent limitations in terms of performance. This engine design led to inefficient combustion processes, contributing to sluggish acceleration and poor fuel economy. One of the most significant criticisms of the 236 inline-six was its lack of power. Drivers often found the engine struggled to deliver the necessary acceleration, particularly when merging onto highways or when loaded with passengers and cargo. This sluggishness made the driving experience less enjoyable and raised concerns about the vehicle's performance in various driving conditions. The inline-six was notorious for overheating, especially during prolonged use or when subjected to heavy loads. This issue not only affected engine performance, but also posed a risk of severe engine damage if not managed properly. Drivers frequently had to monitor temperature levels, which added an extra layer of stress during longer trips. The engine's flathead design also contributed to frequent mechanical issues. The outdated design led to incomplete combustion, which resulted in poor fuel efficiency and increased emissions. Owners often reported subpar fuel economy, making it less appealing in an era where fuel efficiency was becoming increasingly important. The 236 inline-six required regular maintenance to mitigate overheating and other issues. Frequent tune-ups and mechanical repairs became a necessity, leading to higher ownership costs and inconveniences for drivers. In city driving conditions, the 236 inline-six engine could manage basic stop-and-go traffic, but its lack of responsiveness became frustrating for drivers. The engine's performance was sufficient for commuting, but many felt it fell short of expectations for a car in this class. On highways, the limitations of the engine became more pronounced. The sluggish acceleration made it challenging to maintain speed, especially on inclines or when overtaking slower vehicles. Drivers often found themselves wishing for more power, particularly on longer trips. When carrying heavier loads, the engine struggled to perform effectively. Whether it was a full passenger load or cargo in the trunk, the 236 inline-six's performance diminished significantly, making it less versatile for families and those needing a reliable workhorse. The late 1940s and early 1950s marked a shift in consumer preferences towards vehicles that offered not only style, but also performance and reliability. As fuel prices fluctuated and competition intensified, consumers began to demand more from their vehicles. The DeSoto Custom faced stiff competition from other manufacturers offering more modern engine designs and better performance characteristics. Brands like Ford and Chevrolet were introducing vehicles equipped with more powerful and efficient engines, drawing potential buyers away from the DeSoto lineup. The performance issues associated with the 236 inline-six engine contributed to a perception of DeSoto as a brand lagging behind its competitors in terms of innovation and performance. While the Custom was well-designed and stylish, its mechanical shortcomings hindered its overall market success. The struggles of the 236 inline-six reflected broader trends in the automotive industry, where manufacturers were moving towards more advanced engine designs, including overhead valve OHV configurations that offered better power and efficiency. Despite its shortcomings, the 1950 DeSoto Custom remains an important part of automotive history. It showcases the challenges faced by automakers during a transitional period when consumer expectations were evolving rapidly. In conclusion, the 1950 DeSoto Custom and its 236 inline-six engine illustrate the complexities of automobile design and engineering during a time of change in the industry. While the DeSoto Custom was designed to meet the needs of families seeking style and comfort, the engine's limitations in performance and reliability ultimately impacted its success. Number 6, 1953. Kaiser Henry J, 1953. Kaiser Henry J. This model is particularly noteworthy for its 161 inline-six engine, which, while cost-effective, had significant performance issues. The Kaiser Fraser Corporation was established after World War II, seeking to carve out a niche in the American automotive market. The Henry J was positioned as an affordable compact car aimed at budget-conscious consumers. It was designed to appeal to a wide audience, including first-time car buyers and those seeking economical transportation. The 1953 model featured a simple yet distinctive design characterized by its compact size and straightforward lines. The focus was on practicality and functionality, with a utilitarian interior and limited luxury features, reflecting its budget-friendly intent. The 161 inline-six was a cost-effective choice for Kaiser, offering an economical manufacturing solution. This engine produced approximately 90 horsepower, which, while adequate for basic driving needs, was significantly below the performance levels offered by competitors at the time. The 161 inline-six was designed to be straightforward and inexpensive to produce. However, its simplicity came at a cost, namely performance. The engine's design led to issues that would become apparent to drivers over time. Drivers of the Kaiser Henry J often reported that the 161 inline-six delivered disappointing performance. The lack of power was evident, particularly in situations requiring acceleration, such as merging onto highways or navigating inclines. This led to frustration among owners who expected more from their vehicles. One of the most significant issues with the 161 inline-six was its tendency to stall, especially when under load. This was particularly problematic during city driving, where frequent stops and starts could catch drivers off guard. Stalling not only disrupted the driving experience, but also raised concerns about reliability, an important factor for consumers in the early 1950s. The engine's performance characteristics contributed to a rough ride experience, particularly at higher speeds. Drivers often found that the lack of power and responsiveness made the vehicle feel sluggish and unrefined, leading to an overall unsatisfactory driving experience. In urban settings, the Kaiser Henry J could handle everyday driving tasks. However, the underwhelming power of the engine was evident in stop-and-go traffic, where the vehicle's inability to accelerate smoothly could lead to annoyance and discomfort for drivers and passengers alike. On the highway, the limitations of the 161 inline-six became even more apparent. The engine struggled to maintain speed, especially during overtaking maneuvers. This lack of performance made long-distance driving less enjoyable and raised safety concerns for drivers needing to merge or navigate faster-moving traffic. When the vehicle was loaded with passengers or cargo, the performance issues were exacerbated. The 161 inline-six struggled to deliver adequate power, leading to further stalling and reduced acceleration. This limitation made the Kaiser Henry J less versatile for families or those needing a vehicle for practical purposes. The early 1950s were a time of economic growth in the United States, with consumers increasingly looking for reliable and efficient vehicles. Budget-friendly options like the Kaiser Henry J were intended to fill this niche, but the performance shortcomings of the engine limited its appeal. The automotive market was highly competitive, with manufacturers like Ford, Chevrolet, and Plymouth offering vehicles that provided better performance and reliability. As these competitors introduced more advanced engine technologies, the Kaiser Henry J began to fall behind in consumer preference. The performance issues associated with the 161 inline-six engine negatively impacted the reputation of the Kaiser brand. While the Henry J was designed to be an affordable option, its mechanical shortcomings led to perceptions of the brand as offering subpar vehicles. The challenges faced by the 161 inline-six highlighted the need for innovation in engine design. As consumer expectations evolved, manufacturers began to prioritize power, efficiency, and reliability, leading to significant changes in automotive engineering practices in subsequent years. Despite its shortcomings, the 1953 Kaiser Henry J remains an interesting case study in automotive history. It exemplifies the struggles faced by manufacturers in a rapidly changing market and serves as a reminder of the balance needed between cost-effectiveness and performance. In summary, the 1953 Kaiser Henry J and its 161 inline-six engine represent both the ambitions and limitations of post-war American automotive manufacturing. While the vehicle was designed to offer affordable transportation, the engine's performance issues, including frequent stalling and a rough ride, ultimately hindered its success in the market. Number 5. 1958 Ford Anglia. 1958 Ford Anglia, a compact car that was introduced to the American market as an affordable option for budget-conscious consumers. Although the Anglia was designed to provide economical transportation, it faced significant challenges, particularly concerning its 997 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine. The Ford Anglia was originally produced in the UK and became known for its compact size and efficiency. In the late 1950s, as American consumers sought more economical vehicles amid rising costs, Ford decided to import the Anglia to appeal to this market segment. The 1958 model showcased a unique design with a distinctive rear-end styling and a compact body. The emphasis was on simplicity and functionality, making it an attractive option for those looking for a no-frills vehicle. However, its compact size also came with significant limitations. The 997 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine was designed to be lightweight and economical. It produced around 39 horsepower, which was suitable for basic driving needs, but inadequate for the expectations of American consumers. While the small engine aimed to keep production costs down, it ultimately compromised performance. The design featured minimal power output, which became increasingly problematic in the context of American driving conditions. The most prominent issue with the 997 cubic centimeter inline-4 was its severe underpowering. The engine struggled to provide adequate acceleration, making even basic driving maneuvers, such as merging into traffic or climbing hills, a significant challenge. Owners frequently complained that the Anglia felt sluggish and unresponsive, particularly during everyday driving situations. This lack of power could lead to frustration, especially for drivers accustomed to the performance of larger American vehicles. The performance issues were exacerbated when the vehicle was loaded with passengers or cargo. The engine's inability to generate enough power for safe and effective driving under these conditions left many owners dissatisfied with their purchase. Beyond power limitations, the 997 cubic centimeter engine was plagued by reliability issues. Owners reported frequent mechanical failures, which undermined confidence in the vehicle's dependability. Issues included poor oil pressure, overheating, and carburetor malfunctions. These problems contributed to a negative ownership experience, as drivers often found themselves facing unexpected repairs and breakdowns. In a market filled with more robust alternatives, the reliability problems of the Ford Anglia made it less appealing. Competitors were able to offer vehicles that provided both power and dependability, highlighting the shortcomings of the Anglia's engine. The American automotive market was largely characterized by a preference for powerful, reliable vehicles. Consumers were looking for cars that could handle a variety of driving conditions, and the Anglia's limitations did not align with these expectations. The combination of underpowered performance and reliability issues led to disappointing sales figures for the Ford Anglia in the United States. Many potential buyers opted for larger, more powerful alternatives, resulting in a lack of market traction for this compact model. The challenges faced by the Ford Anglia serve as a reminder of the importance of meeting consumer expectations in the automotive industry. The vehicle's inability to compete with the established standards of American cars marked it as a unique, yet ultimately unsuccessful experiment in the market. In conclusion, the 1958 Ford Anglia, with its 997 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, represents a fascinating yet cautionary tale in automotive history. While intended as an affordable option for budget-conscious consumers, the Anglia's underpowered performance and reliability issues limited its appeal and success in the American market. Number 4, 1959 Edsel Villager. 1959 Edsel Villager, a vehicle that promised innovation and style, but ultimately struggled with significant performance issues. Central to these problems was the 223 inline-6 engine, which, despite its engineering advancements, failed to deliver the power and reliability that consumers expected. Launched in 1958, Edsel was created by Ford as a new division aimed at capturing a slice of the mid-range car market. The Villager was one of Edsel's station wagon offerings, designed to appeal to families looking for style and functionality. The Villager was marketed with a range of innovative features, including unique styling elements and comfort-focused design. However, despite these forward-thinking attributes, the underlying mechanical components would prove to be its Achilles heel. The 223 inline-6 engine was intended to offer a balance of performance and economy, Producing around 140 horsepower, it was meant to provide adequate power for a family-oriented vehicle. However, in practice, it fell short of expectations. The engine was a traditional inline-six design, known for its simplicity and reliability. Unfortunately, the execution of this design did not translate to effective performance in the Villager. One of the main complaints regarding the 223 inline-six was its lack of power, particularly for a vehicle of the Villager's size. Drivers frequently noted that acceleration was sluggish, making merging into traffic and overtaking other vehicles a daunting task. The engine struggled when the vehicle was fully loaded with passengers or cargo. This lack of power not only made for an unsatisfactory driving experience, but also raised concerns about safety and performance in various driving conditions. Owners reported that the Villager often felt lethargic on the road, leading to frustration and disappointment, particularly for those accustomed to more powerful competitors in the market. The 223 engine was known for its tendency to overheat, especially under stress or during prolonged driving periods. This issue not only hampered performance, but also raised significant reliability concerns for owners. In addition to overheating, the engine suffered from a range of mechanical failures, including issues with the ignition system and carburetor. These failures led to a poor ownership experience, with many drivers needing to address repairs frequently. The combination of performance shortcomings and reliability issues significantly undermined consumer confidence in the Edsel brand. In an era where dependability was key for family vehicles, the Villager's shortcomings became a major obstacle to its acceptance. The American automotive market of the late 1950s was dominated by vehicles that combined style with reliable performance. The Edsel Villager's engine problems failed to meet these expectations, leading to disillusionment among potential buyers. Ultimately, the Edsel brand, including the Villager, suffered from disappointing sales. The combination of innovative design but poor mechanical performance rendered the vehicle unappealing to a wide audience. The Villager's experience serves as a critical lesson in automotive design and marketing, highlighting the importance of reliability and performance in consumer acceptance. The failure of the Edsel brand is often cited as a cautionary tale of how not to misalign product attributes with market demands. In conclusion, the 1959 Edsel Villager, equipped with the 223 inline-six engine, exemplifies a case of ambition marred by execution. While it featured a forward-thinking design and innovative elements, the engine's underpowered performance and reliability issues overshadowed these advancements, leading to a lack of consumer acceptance. Number 3. 1950 Buick Special. 1950 Buick Special, a vehicle that played a significant role in the automotive landscape of its time. Central to this discussion is the 248 inline-eight engine, which, while innovative in its early days, ultimately fell behind the evolving standards of the mid-century automotive market. The Buick Special was introduced as a part of Buick's lineup in the 1930s and continued through the 1950s. By 1950, it was positioned as a mid-range offering aimed at consumers seeking a blend of style, comfort, and performance. The 1950 model was characterized by its sleek lines and spacious interior, designed to appeal to families and individuals looking for a reliable vehicle that didn't compromise on aesthetics. The 248 inline-eight engine produced around 105 horsepower. While it offered the smoothness typically associated with eight-cylinder engines, it lacked the performance metrics expected in a car of its class during the post-war boom. Inline-eight engines were once lauded for their smooth operation and refined performance. However, by the 1950s, many manufacturers were transitioning to V8 designs that provided better power and efficiency. One of the most notable criticisms of the 248 engine was its sluggish acceleration. Drivers found that the car struggled to respond quickly, especially when merging onto highways or attempting to overtake slower vehicles. This lack of power diminished the driving experience significantly. The engine's design, while smooth, was outdated and inefficient by mid-decade standards. Owners reported poor fuel economy, which was particularly disappointing in an era where consumers were becoming increasingly conscious of operating costs. The Buick Special, being a family-oriented vehicle, often found itself loaded with passengers and cargo. The 248 engine struggled under these conditions, making it less capable of handling the demands of everyday driving. While generally reliable, the inline-8 engine did have its share of mechanical problems, including difficulties with overheating and carburetor issues. These issues further detracted from the overall ownership experience, as they often required repairs and maintenance. The combination of performance limitations and reliability concerns led to growing discontent among owners. In a competitive market where other brands were delivering superior performance and efficiency, the Buick Special's outdated engine became a significant drawback. By 1950, consumers had begun to expect more from their vehicles in terms of performance and efficiency. The Buick Special's inline-8 engine did not meet these evolving standards, leading to dissatisfaction among potential buyers. Despite its appealing design, the combination of sluggish performance and poor fuel economy affected the sales of the Buick Special. Competing models from other manufacturers with V8 engines and better performance metrics began to dominate the market. The experience of the Buick Special serves as an important reminder of the need for automotive manufacturers to adapt to changing consumer demands and technological advancements. The failure to innovate in engine design ultimately hindered Buick's competitiveness in the market. In conclusion, the 1950 Buick Special, equipped with the 248 inline-8 engine, represents a fascinating chapter in automotive history, highlighting the challenges faced by manufacturers during a time of rapid change and innovation. While the engine provided a smooth ride characteristic of 8-cylinder designs, it ultimately fell short in performance and efficiency, leading to consumer disappointment and diminished market presence. Number 2, 1956 Pontiac Chieftain. 1956 Pontiac Chieftain, a classic car that reflects the automotive trends and challenges of the mid-20th century. Central to our discussion is the 223 inline-6 engine, which, while emblematic of Pontiac's commitment to providing reliable transportation, ultimately fell short in terms of power and efficiency. The Pontiac Chieftain was a popular model within General Motors' Pontiac division during the 1950s. Known for its stylish design and spacious interiors, the Chieftain was aimed at families and individuals seeking a blend of comfort and functionality. The 1956 model showcased bold styling elements typical of the era, with sweeping lines, chrome accents, and a spacious cabin. It was positioned as a mid-range vehicle, appealing to those who desired both aesthetic appeal and practical usability. The 223 inline-6 engine produced around 140 horsepower. While adequate for basic driving needs, it was designed for simplicity rather than performance, which became a point of contention as consumer expectations evolved. Inline-6 engines are often appreciated for their smooth operation and straightforward design. However, by the mid-1950s, competitors were increasingly adopting more powerful V8 engines, leaving inline-6s at a disadvantage in terms of power and performance. One of the most common criticisms of the 223 engine was its lack of power. Drivers frequently reported that the Chieftain struggled to accelerate adequately, particularly when loaded with passengers or cargo. This sluggishness was evident in everyday driving scenarios, such as merging onto highways or climbing hills. Alongside its power limitations, the engine also faced scrutiny for its fuel efficiency. In a market that was becoming increasingly conscious of fuel costs, the Chieftain's inline-6 did not deliver the expected mileage, making it less appealing to budget-conscious consumers. A significant problem with the 223 engine was its propensity to overheat, particularly in warmer climates. This issue not only affected driving performance, but also raised concerns about the engine's overall reliability and longevity. Frequent overheating could lead to costly repairs and left drivers frustrated during hot summer months. While the 223 engine was built for durability, many owners experienced mechanical reliability issues. These included problems with the carburetor, ignition system, and cooling components, which contributed to an overall sense of unreliability. The combination of power deficits and mechanical failures diminished consumer confidence in the Pontiac Chieftain. For a brand that prided itself on delivering performance and dependability, these shortcomings were particularly damaging. By the mid-1950s, consumer expectations were shifting rapidly toward vehicles that offered not only comfort and style, but also power and performance. The Chieftain's inline-6 struggled to compete against rival models that featured more robust V8 engines. As a result of its performance limitations and reliability issues, the Chieftain faced challenges in the marketplace. Sales figures reflected a growing preference for cars that could deliver a more engaging driving experience and better performance metrics. The experience of the 1956 Pontiac Chieftain illustrates the importance of adapting to changing consumer preferences. As the automotive industry evolved, manufacturers needed to respond to demands for better power, efficiency, and reliability. In conclusion, the 1956 Pontiac Chieftain, equipped with the 223 inline-six engine, serves as a fascinating case study in mid-20th century automotive history. While it offered stylish design and comfort, the engine's lack of power, efficiency, and reliability ultimately hindered the Chieftain's appeal in a competitive market. Number 1. 1959 Rambler 6. 1959 Rambler 6, a car that embodies the economic driving philosophies of the late 1950s. At the heart of this vehicle is the 1960 inline-six engine, which aimed to deliver fuel efficiency and affordability. However, despite its economical intent, the engine faced significant issues that hindered its performance and reliability. The Rambler brand was positioned as a more economical choice within the automotive market, appealing primarily to budget-conscious consumers and families. The 1959 Rambler 6 was designed to offer basic transportation with an emphasis on affordability and practicality. The Rambler 6 was characterized by its straightforward design, which emphasized function over flair. It offered a spacious interior and a simple aesthetic that reflected the needs of everyday drivers looking for reliability and cost-effectiveness. The 1960 inline-six engine produced around 120 horsepower, which was considered modest for its time. This engine was designed with an emphasis on fuel efficiency, making it a popular choice for drivers who prioritize economical operation. The inline-six configuration is typically known for its smooth operation and relatively simple design. However, in the case of the Rambler 6, the engine's specifications and design choices ultimately fell short in meeting the demands of consumers. One of the most significant criticisms of the 1960 engine was its lack of power. While it was sufficient for city driving, the engine struggled during highway acceleration, making merging and overtaking other vehicles a challenge. Drivers often reported feeling underwhelmed by the engine's performance, particularly when loaded with passengers or cargo. The Rambler 6 was prone to overheating, especially under demanding conditions. This was particularly problematic in hot weather or during prolonged driving periods, leading to concerns about engine longevity and reliability. The overheating issues not only affected performance, but also led to increased maintenance costs and a lack of consumer confidence in the vehicle. Another prevalent issue with the 1960 engine was gasket failures, which were common among many inline-six designs of that era. These failures could lead to oil leaks, reduced engine efficiency, and the potential for significant repairs, contributing to a reputation for unreliability. Owners of the 1959 Rambler 6 often found themselves dealing with frequent mechanical repairs, particularly related to the engine's overheating and gasket problems. This not only created frustration among drivers, but also resulted in higher ownership costs due to ongoing maintenance and repair needs. The combination of being underpowered and having a reputation for mechanical issues tarnished the Rambler's image as a reliable family car. As consumers increasingly sought vehicles that offered both economy and dependable performance, the Rambler 6 faced challenges in maintaining market share. The late 1950s marked a transition in consumer preferences toward vehicles that not only offered economy but also performance. The market saw a surge in demand for cars with more powerful engines and advanced features, making the Rambler 6's modest offering less appealing to many buyers. As a result of its performance limitations and mechanical reliability concerns, the 1959 Rambler 6 struggled in sales compared to competitors that provided more robust options. This shift indicated a critical turning point for the Rambler brand, which needed to adapt to changing market dynamics. The experience of the Rambler 6 serves as a cautionary tale about the balance between cost-cutting measures and performance expectations. While the engine aimed to fulfill a niche for economical driving, it ultimately demonstrated the necessity for manufacturers to deliver reliable, efficient, and powerful options to satisfy consumer demands. In conclusion, the 1959 Rambler 6 and its 1960 inline-six engine represent an interesting chapter in automotive history, showcasing both the strengths and weaknesses of an economy-focused vehicle. While it catered to budget-conscious consumers, the engine's underwhelming power, overheating issues, and gasket failures ultimately hindered its appeal and reliability.